Tonight on the Black Channel, well, if you hadn't heard, apparently there's a brand new challenge out there that's sweeping the nation. Oh, let me go ahead and turn the sound off for that so we don't get the copyright strike on that, but all right, they sound rather buoyant over there, don't they? Although there's a little bit more to it here. Here's another video here. Minjabla. You can go look that one up. I think it means the devil's coming or the devil's here. But you can go look that up, and we'll go over translating some of this stuff here in a little bit. Let's bypass the little copyright issue there.
C'est celle qui a traité par la sous Biden qui tellement remet challenge ancien moun yo a faire ce bagay extra remel. Te gon moment dans TikTok là. Nous te senti pour nous défoncer moun yo fou. Si ancien moun yo pas fou sur TikTok là, pas.
Okay, so some of my Creole speaking folks out there, you can go and translate all this if you want to. So she's got a lot to say there, and I think we get your drift, ma'am. I think we get your drift. All right. Let's go ahead and go to another video here. This fella has a lot to say about that, so let me go ahead and let you all hear what he has to say.
There's nothing I hate more than coons, and that's coons in every font, every language, from every walk of life. Right now, Haitians are being targeted by the Trump administration. TPS has been terminated, leaving thousands of Haitians' status hanging in the air. Some forced into ankle monitors, others facing deportation back to a Haiti that is still not safe for people on the ground, let alone those who are being forced to return from abroad. And in response to this, you will not believe what some Haitians are doing.
Actually, sir, we actually would believe it. That's my short answer to you here. Is actually, we would believe it.
From abroad. And in response to this, you will not believe what some Haitians are doing. Jodi am découvrir un nouveau challenge sur TikTok. Côté haïtien, yo a monté passeport américain pour yo passer haïtien TPS, yo a déporté sous moment. Et moi t'avle dit nous coulon get mama.
Get mama.
Et puis l'aime dit m'ray coons, please passer tout bagay. C'est ça m'ble dit. Kounya la nan États-Unis, ou pense passeport américain gagne yo signification, vraiment pas ici moins en pile, mais parfois nous tellement saute. Because under this administration, them passports don't mean shit. He will snatch you up so quick, and the next thing you know, you're in Delma 19 asking yourself how it all went wrong, sitting there like,
Miss Jackson.
Sitting here watching y'all do this challenge, flexing your American passports against Haitians who are currently being deported, and do you not see the level of coonery this is? This isn't basic coonery. This is AP level, advanced studies, doctorate level coonery, because...
Okay. Here's the issue, sir, with using that word, with using that term. The issue with it is that term, saying the word coonin like that, means nothing if you are speaking it to people who do not have a concept of coonin. That's the issue. Well, you're appealing to being on code, but that only works if you're talking to a group who actually has a code and for whom they have a concept of coonin. So the very people that you're criticizing, You haven't first determined that they actually have a concept of cooning. So you're picking up things you learned from us and things you got from us. And what you're finding out is that Pan-Africanism doesn't really work that way, which is what we've been doing a bunch of correcting about, because it doesn't do any good if you have two people at a table, but only one person understands or even has a respect for what that word means. So I hear you. I just want you to understand the people you're talking to is going to fall on deaf ears, and now you know why it's going to fall on deaf ears.
This challenge, flexing your American passports against Haitians who are currently being deported. And do you not see the level of coonery this is? This isn't basic coonery. This is AP level, advanced studies, doctorate level coonery, because just one generation ago, your parents came, your siblings came, somebody sacrificed their life to put you in this country, to get you that passport to become a naturalized citizen with the thick accent you still carry today. The passport is not protecting you in this moment because Black Americans are under attack right now in our own country. They are trying to take away our voting rights. And here you are with the name Manushka Philomene Fritz Nell Marie Louise Wilkinson Joseph III playing into this bullshit.
Yeah, it's true. Ask about it. Ask.
Imagine ou ka di me jabla. Se kon sa lot Haitien a fawche Haitien ki te gen TPS Etats-Unis, ki pa gen papye ki illegal nan moment la Etats-Unis. Sa vle di nou pa gen anye pou nou fe.
They all look very happy and very buoyant and jolly to me.
Ki gen 10 ans.
I mean, they don't look very sad about it. I mean, there's plenty of them doing it and waving around their pass. Are these the other passport bros? What? Oh, man, I'm just wondering. Are these the other passport bros?
Monte passeport mwen pou mka fawche moun. Nou pa we lot Latino yore te connecte ensemble. Et puis kounya la, Haitien yo fait international.
Now he's got some smoke for Latinos. All right.
What's wrong with y'all? You niggas are crazy!
Right now, Haitians are down, especially the teens and young kids who came here during the Biden administration, are those who are now in college, who have built lives here. Those with kids, jobs, homes, nothing to go back to in Haiti. People who have had to sit with the fact that the life they know is over back home. This isn't about the word temporary in TPS. It's about the program itself and the parameters that define it. An ongoing crisis preventing people from rebuilding a life back home. That is the entire premise these asylum seekers were approved to come here under in the first place. Meanwhile, they're accepting white South Africans who are going through a genocide that doesn't exist in South Africa because they're white. And you're out here taunting them online with your American passport. That's a new fucking low. Cut to King Kun Wilkinson Sejour. He bought himself to a news station to talk about his regret over voting for Trump because his own staff.
Well, they're all still very upset about Mr. King
voted
Creole.
for Donald Trump. The Chef Creole restaurant in Miami's Little.
No, here's the problem, young man, and I understand you're being ventilated, but here's the issue. You're talking about, oh, there's some poor folks and they was under bad circumstances. They had to come flee over here and so on and so forth. Okay, but here's the issue. As much as you may not like this, and I understand you don't like this, you can't separate these folks here. You take a look at them. This is what came over. You're not going to be able to separate those two. This is what came over right here. It's not just one or two. This is exactly what we're talking about. This is what came over. So now that it's not convenient to acknowledge that, I'm trying to think this is some foreign species. No, it's not. These are the same folk. Take a look at how they're acting about it. These are the exact same people. All of them came over here talking about they refugees. And just as soon as they got themselves solidified, it became damn y'all niggas. That is the issue we've been having with the Caribbean. That's precisely the issue that we've had. So no, sir, this idea that, oh, these people here are just renegades and they're just different and they just don't understand. Y'all don't have respect for it. No, none of them do. No, that's the issue. These are not anomalies. These are not outliers. This is exactly the issue that we've been referring to. So it may not be very convenient now to lump them in with everybody else, but yeah, this is exactly the way it goes. This is exactly the way it's been going. These are your refugees. These are your temporary protected status, your naturalized, the folks who wanted to stay until they got naturalized. This is them. This is the last wave of them. Not very convenient to understand that or to accept that, but no, this is the previous wave of them. This is what they're doing now. Didn't even make it out one generation, so I understand this is very, very inconvenient and very, very difficult to swallow, but yeah, this is exactly, these are the group you talking about. The folk you trying to defend is things are bad back home and they want a better life. Okay, the people mocking them, these are the same folk. Take a look, people. These aren't old people on your screen. Hey, bruh, these ain't elders on here, man. These not little old ladies. These are the same people. They got theirs and said, damn you if you ain't got nothing else. So, yeah, we can't play that little game right there. Oh, these folks is different. No, they're not. These are the same people. These are the same ones. Does this sound like she's been in America long?
Si moun yo pa fou sou TikTok la, e pa fok nou telman nou te kole nan der si moun yo.
Okay, does it sound like she's been in America long? Does it sound like she's been here for 2 generations to you? I know it's not very convenient, but yeah, no. She ain't been here for 30 years. So they talked to, he was playing the clip from King Creole and unhappy about that.
Latinos for Trump, because the delusion that
Electric chair.
a known grifter, known for withholding payment from his staff and threatening to report their immigration status, now regretting his vote because it came back around on him. He should start a support group with Latinos for Trump, because the delusion that comes with coonery will forever baffle me. You can have conservative views, you can want traditional values, you can be who you want to be, but never at the expense of your own community. I truly believe we're in an uphill battle where members of our own communities are doing the work of white supremacy for us. And it's shameful. Our ancestors would be sick to their stomachs watching our tap dance for white acceptance, only to learn at the end of the day, they will never, ever accept you as white. And
our community. Our community. I'm lost here. Who's our? I mean, just seriously, before we throw these words around like this, who's our? Is she a member of, quote, our community?
Libre dans pays ou même pas paraître ou qui t'a demandé ça le régler qui ça le fait. Bon gay même qui rive plus loin.
Which side of our community is she in? Just asking for some clarity here because I'm a little lost. Which side is she on? Which community is she a part of? Which part of our community is she in? These are the things that we have to nail down here, because when you start making these blanket assumptions or trying to cover folks under blankets and whatnot, what you're really doing is disregarding, hey, wait a minute, if you're not on code, listen to me very carefully. If you are not on code, you are not part of our community.
And deal with it.
If you're not on code, you're not part of our community. And now, understand something. When you allow a group of people to develop and create a culture of opportunism and self-serving, you're not going to be able to jump up 2 generations, 3 generations later, and then start trying to appeal to some racial unity. Or ethnic unity for that matter, because I'm not really hearing racial in here. You're not going to be able to appeal to some unity here. This is the issue that you're having, brother. If they were not on code before, you're just whistling into the wind, trying to impose some type of Haitian unity, because you haven't even defined what that is. So you understand you don't have it and you're appealing to it and like, hey, this is messed up. And we get it, which is exactly why we've made the pivot that we have. And yeah, this is the issue you're running into. You're using terms that mean something to the foundation. It means something to us, but you're making the mistake that this translates to these other people who have roundly rejected it. What I'm saying is that these words, they don't have any concept of that. Community, code of conduct, kunin, they don't have a concept of that. Everybody is every man for himself. That's what it was over there, and that's what they do over here, which is why the white population is not really worried about them, because they know these folks are looking for a seat in Massa's house. So I hear what you're saying, and I understand your frustration from it. But I need you to understand why it is that that's occurring. You know, folks want to appeal to unity when it's convenient. Everybody wants to start talking about unity when their ass is in a crack and when they're in need and they need something. Then all of a sudden, here comes the unity song. Now, when they have an opportunity to steal some stuff and grab it on their own, all of a sudden unity doesn't matter. And it's every man for himself. Then folks get in trouble, and all of a sudden here comes the unity train. And you're going to have an incredibly difficult time selling unity to a bunch of opportunistic individualists who you're finding out do not even want to identify as Haitian. They don't want that. They're really looking for white acceptance. So yes, you're saying all the right things. You're discussing white supremacy with folks who are looking and demanding white acceptance. So you are thinking like a descendant of American slaves, but you're talking to Haitians who are trying to figure out what part of slavery they can return to. So this is not a matter of, calling them out for it. The issue is that they're okay with it. They're all right with it. They're not ashamed of Coonan. That's why that guy was sitting up there talking about he voted for Trump. They're not ashamed of that. There's nobody among his group who's going to hold that against him. That's the issue. There's no one in his group who's going to hold that against him. So your frustration is understandable, but yeah, context is key.
And it's shameful. Our ancestors would be sick to their stomachs watching our tap dance for white acceptance.
Which ancestors? Once again, I know I'm stopping them a lot here, but folks, once again, our ancestors. Sir, which ones? Because he speaks English very fluently here. He certainly is using our vocabulary. So maybe he's half and half. I don't understand. I'm not sure. And that's okay by me. What I'm saying is, hey, our ancestors, though, if you're referring to on the Haitian side, I think you may be assuming a lot. You might be assuming quite a lot there. Because on our side of the fence over here on our side of the fence, yeah, everybody already knows this and that's understood. So it doesn't even have to be argued for. So yeah, if you're talking about ours, but if you're talking about the Haitian side, which ancestors are you referring to? Because I would submit to you that it is the Haitian ancestors that got them here. As you'll all remember, Dr. John Henry Clark talked about this. You can look it up on YouTube. He talked about Haiti. He talked about the fact that the Haitians started defining themselves as black Frenchmen. And that led to a number of other issues that arose after the revolution. After the revolution, there were a number of issues that came up there. And a bunch of people here. Dr. Clark talked about Henry Christophe. He talked about Henry Christophe and how things had changed. He talked about that. So you can go and check into that for yourselves. But they talked about the fact that, by the way, what happened is they started wanting to identify themselves as black Frenchmen. And when you took a look at the way they dressed and talked and everything else, it was very clear. Oh, they all saw themselves as little Napoleon Bonapartes. That's the ancestors you're referring to, sir. If you want to go right back to the very revolution itself, it's like you didn't even make it out the gate. So if you're talking about our ancestors over here on the American soil, if you want to talk about our ancestors over here from the soil, well, that would be different. But then again, the Haitians do not have any respect for our ancestors. And their ancestors gave them the blueprint that led to exactly what you're so frustrated over. So, our ancestors. Okay?
Your own community. I truly believe we're in an uphill battle where members of our own communities are doing the work of white supremacy for us. And it's shameful. Our ancestors would be sick to their stomachs watching our tap dance for white acceptance, only to learn at the end of the day, they will never, ever accept you as white. And you'll be left standing outside looking like a fucking fool and a dunce. I can't believe I have to say this, but make sure you guys fucking know you're black and stay black so you can continue to be blessed.
Black? I mean, who are we selling that to? Black? I mean, I hear him. I get it. I think he's sincere. Who are we selling this to, man? I mean, just take a look at who we're selling it to. You might have the best of intentions, but this was the whole issue that we've had, is that when you say that word black, Haitians and the Caribbean and the continental Africans do not have a concept of that. That's precisely the issue. You're using terminology and words that we created, that we domiciled, that we codified. These other groups that you're talking to and complaining about, they do not have any such concept, even as they are victims of white supremacy and color caste systems, even in their own home countries. So you're trying to impose a foreign concept. They don't subscribe to that. So you're yelling about blackness and yelling about cooning. That translates to us here from the soil. That does not translate to those from the island. I gotta say something right quick. I have got to say something here. Because he was talking about you have to respect being black and what's going to happen if you don't. And you're going to be out there looking like an effing fool. I get him. I hear him. I get it, sir, and I hear it. But there's something I need to ask right now. And this is going to be a sharp elbow. Just, you've had your warning up front. I got to tell you all, it is very rare, and my folks from New York, my folks from Florida, my folks from Michigan will bear me witness. It is rare to find a female from the Caribbean, period. Doesn't matter which part of it you're talking about. It is rare to find one who has not already polished her interracial sexual credentials. Have any of you noticed that? I mean, them Caribbean chicks, they've always got at least one or two non-black males on their sexual resumes. It's like a rite of passage. They come from places that don't really have any white population to speak of, and yet, practically all of them have had their interracial sexual rite of passage. Isn't that interesting? You come from places that don't really have any sizable white population to speak of, and yet practically all of them have had a white or Asian or Indian. It's a rite of passage. So if they're not all sex tourism, If they're not all sex touring on the islands, they're certainly sex touring off the islands. So when you start talking about them looking a fool, I'm like, dude, are we really having an honest conversation about the culture? Are we really having an honest conversation about the real culture and what they really value and what really happens? Or are we just leaving it out because, once again, it is inconvenient? It's inconvenient to acknowledge that, by the way, that's kind of their little rite of passage coming out of there. And you think that you're going to shame them on black terms? I mean, when somebody considers it a badge of honor to participate in slave play, man, there's not much character there to shame. You can only shame someone who has character and scruples, and someone who's engaging in slave play, there's not really much character and scruples to shame there, man. It really isn't. It really isn't. It really isn't. They're doing their thing, man, and they're kind of upset about that, and it culminates in things like this, and this is the seamy underbelly that we've been talking about here. We warned them forever that this was how far things had degraded, and I must reiterate this right now, because I've got listeners who rock with me for real, from Haiti, from the Dominican Republic, from all over the Caribbean. Shout out to all of y'all. You understand what I'm saying here tonight, because once again, in the vein of our immortal ancestor, Dr. John Henry Clarke, this is not about demonization, and this is not about kicking folk while they're down. Of course, you have to convince them that they're down first. What this is a necessary alert to notify and warn them to it. You have to get your house in order. And I will give the young man props about that at least he is calling out the Haitians. He's not just sitting back and ignoring it. So whether he does have some FBA lineage or not, I will give him credit for the fact that he apparently appears, at least he is calling them out, because most don't even do that. Most don't even do that. Most won't even do that part, so I will give him credit for at least raising his voice to at least speak about that, because usually they want to sit up here and try to scapegoat and change the subject. So he is certainly calling it out. You all are going to need a lot more than him, because this is going to be a very honest conversation to need to have. What do you do when you have folks who are merrily and happily off code? What do you do when you're trying to sell them on the idea of blackness and they're laughing in your face? And as you all saw, this wasn't just one or two folks. This is all over the place. So they're going to sit up here and tell us what we need to do for Haitians. And Rolling the Bowling Ball Martin is going to talk about what we need to do for Haitians. And everybody's trying to imply we need to do for Haitians. And I'm like, have you seen what the Haitians are saying? Yeah, before you sit up here and try to wave that in our faces, excuse me, sir. Stop the bus. Have you actually seen and heard what the actual Haitians are saying? Yeah, I know you want to talk to us for a little while, but just wait for a minute. Have you heard what they're saying? Have you heard how broken up they are about this? Have you taken a few moments to, listen to that and tune that in and find out how they feel about that? Because if you haven't, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense there. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. Some of these folks find these things out the hard way. If you all want to, you can go and translate this stuff, like what she has posted up here, this caption she has. According to Google, that translates to, now I'm coming to post about getting an American passport. The reaction, the emotion, and how people start cursing out fathers. So she's saying that her having a passport, y'all is hating on her. And that's why she starts laughing to mock you for hating on her. I got my passport. Y'all are hating on me. I got my passport. I'm coming to post or boast about getting my American passport. Your reactions, you angry, you're emotional, you're cursing. So you can take what she put up here and go to Google and go look up the translation of that. How about Redhead Kingpin here? How about you? Okay. That translates to, I heard that if you're not there, you are not allowed to do this challenge. Okay. I heard if you're not there, you're not allowed to do this challenge. All right. No issues there. We all on code. The part there at what this all means, according to Google, what you see on your screen right here with this woman with the crazy bonnet on her head or whatever, I mean, that mole is out of control. Damn! Yeah, y'all, that mole is out of control. But in any case, the TPS people are in hiding. Go back to our country, you bunch of scumbag good-for-nothings. What? According to Google, what you see here on the screen, that's what that translates to. The TPS people are in hiding. Go back to our country, you bunch of scumbags, good-for-nothings. That's the code. That's the code. And when they wonder why we've had to make the moves we have, is because, by the way, this is what's going on. We've had to make that clear about what is acceptable and what isn't. We've had to put our foot down. We have had to put our foot down that this is suicidal and that they have been completely colonized by the oppressors. They've been completely colonized, and we just are not going to play around with folks pretending like that's not the case, because it is. And speaking about colonized Haitians, by the way, it wouldn't be complete if I didn't discuss about Roland Martin. Now, Roland Martin has been catching direct hits left and right, but Roland talked about this last week with the fella at the Haitian restaurant there. Roland actually talked about this last week, and I didn't get a chance to play it. However, it segues wonderfully with what we're talking about here tonight. Now, before I go any further, I do have to say, if you have any children in the room, Roland Martin is about to have an epic potty mouth crash out because the Haitian community let him all the way down and he couldn't hide from it. So if you have any small children or sensitive relatives in the room, you're going to want to go, or if you're one of them, you're going to want to go ahead and remove them at least for the next 2 or 3 minutes here. Because Roland's about to turn into jelly and unhinged here. So you have been fairly warned.
This Negro I'm about to show is now crying because he about to lose all his stuff because he ain't got no workers because his punk ass voted for Trump. Roll it.
I voted for Donald Trump.
The Chef Creole restaurant in Miami's Little Haiti neighborhood is typically bustling with customers. Not today.
People are scared.
Owner Wilkinson Sajor says it's not just the clientele. After 34 years in business, he's lost his entire management team at 7 locations and will likely have to shut down 2 stores due to the end of temporary protected status.
The end of TPS means for me that my future in the hospitality business is almost going to be non-existent.
On Sunday, federal officers made an immigration arrest outside one of his restaurants.
What would you say to the president that you voted for?
He sold to me that he is a businessman and that he will be making business decisions.
Do you regret your vote?
Yes, I do.
Fair use, Roland, by the way. Fair use.
I told y'all I'm trying not to cuss. So I'm going to give y'all 10 seconds to turn y'all TV down so y'all ain't got to hear what I'm about to say. So I'm going to give y'all a countdown. 10.
I'm not going to edit this, by the way. I just want this to be preserved for posterity, so I'm not going to edit this.
5, 4,
I'm amazed he can
3,
count.
2, 1. I know this motherfucker didn't. This punk ass Negro.
Roland, y'all, Roland, I don't know if you want to talk about punks. Damn! So, Roland, I understand your frustration and indignation, but brother, are you sure you want to start talking about punks? Are you certain you want to go there? I mean, you've got every right to do it, but Roland, are you sure you are the voice of punk criticism? Are you certain that you want to ride that rail? I know it's very, very, very quick to do that, but are you certain that you want to do that? All right, do what you do.
2, 1. I know this motherfucker didn't. This punk ass Negro, your bitch ass, watch Donald Trump say Haitians in Ohio were eating cats and dogs. They denigrated them people. They demanded they actually leave. J.D. Vance and Trump, he did it in a debate. It got debunked. It was a lie. A white woman started and got her dog back, and the whole thing started. And your punk ass, with a business in Little Haiti, Florida, supported the son of a bitch who trashed your customers. I hope your ass lose every damn restaurant. I hope your ass go bankrupt. You got to be the dumbest son of a bitch to literally vote against your own economic interest. Let me tell you, I thought he was gonna be great for business.
Roland was saying there was he was tap dancing. So I want you all to catch that part. That's not just Roland basically having a diabetic seizure. That's Roland said he's tap dancing. So
I thought your own economic interest. Let me tell you, I thought he was gonna be great for business. He ain't great for your business, stupid ass. Y'all, I do not feel sorry for him. I shed no tears for him. I believe he is stupid and ignorant. You slit your own throat. How in the world your business, you call yourself Creole Joe or Creole Chef? The language spoken in Haiti. Your business is in Little Haiti. Donald Trump told us he wanted to get rid of the Haitians, and your dumb ass still voted for him. Man, take your punk ass on. Candace, go ahead.
So, as you all can see, Roland had the most epic crash out that he has ever had, in my opinion. He actually had to sit there and psych himself up and get prepared for that, you know. So fortunately, his blood pressure didn't spike too badly on that. But yeah, Roland was very upset, as you can tell. Y'all, does this qualify as Haitian on Haitian crime?
Alrighty then.
I'm just wondering, does this qualify as Haitian on Haitian crime here? So Roland is very unhappy about that. He was very upset. He was wishing ill on the Haitian economy, at least one person's Haitian economy there. And it was kind of scary at one point, to be totally honest. It was actually a little frightening to see that. So could you all imagine this little fella squealing at you on a street corner, by the way? Could you imagine that? Like, you're riding home from work and this guy's outside your window yelling at you. Could you imagine what that would be like?
Go bankrupt.
Like a black Danny DeVito. What? Could you all imagine him outside your window being angry? He's trying his best. He's trying his best to be sassy and intimidating. He is trying his best to be... It's hard to be intimidating when you're that sassy is the issue. It's hard to do that. So, but he's trying. He's giving it everything he got. He is giving it everything he's got. So, I did notice that. So, oh man. Rough time at the... tough day at the office for him. Tough day at the office. Now, I want to play a little bit more of this because some of the folk that he had coming on talking, they actually had some comments to make there. They actually had some comments to make, and I want you all to hear what some of these folk had to say, including one Michael Emotep in particular. Hello, Michael. We know you listen, so don't worry. I got a few choice words for your comments as well. So let's hear what their reaction to that was.
And this is what we call piercing the veil of privilege. And both of those gentlemen found out, I wouldn't even say the hard way, because as you said, they knew that that was coming. So why did they vote against? They voted for financial interests and against human interests. And this is a man who we know how he handles businesses. We know that his businesses fail. So why are they all buying into this whole idea that let me vote for Trump because he is a good businessman? We've got decades of records showing that he is not a good businessman. And I don't feel sorry for them either. And look at the difference in the privilege that they have. The white man said, I've got enough money to buy anything, to buy her out of anything. The black man said, what? I got to close down. Au revoir. Right? So two differences in terms of how they voted, what they both thought was going to be, but look at how it played out differently for them. That white man's going to fight it all the way to court. He's got the money. He's ready to pick up his soon-to-be wife, who he said was his driver, right? He can't see. But with the black man, his business is going to close. But both of them got the exact same lesson. And the lesson is, don't vote for Trump. You never should have done it.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. As we've already covered, you have illegal aliens working all over the state of Florida, particularly in the agriculture industry. Remember, we did a story here about these two white farmers in Florida with a bunch of illegals from either South America or whatever working on their farms. Okay, but you notice they're not coming for their workers. Oh, they're coming after illegals, all right, but they're picking and choosing which ones they're going after. They're not going after the ones working for the white guys. Furthermore, they shouldn't be going after them. They should be going after the white guys who own the businesses, because those are the kingpins. There should be RICO charges all over the place, and yet there are not. Not at the federal level, not at the state level. Ron DeWolk-Santis. The other thing here is that for Mr. King Creole, see, here's the part that folks here don't understand. The part that they don't understand is that when you have no concept of blackness, you have no code of conduct, you consider status to be standing next to the European colonizer. That has been your lifelong dream, is to be accepted on colonizers' terms. That you admire Napoleon and that Napoleon sees you as his equal. Now, if you actually told the truth, you would recognize that's what they want. They want to be recognized by the European. So you see, Donald Trump, that's not offensive to them. I've told you all, I gave you that phrase for a reason, the European strongman, the white Anglo strongman, all over the Caribbean, all over South America, all over Mexico. That's what the culture, all over Africa, that is what the culture has accepted. They have normalized bowing to their pagan deity, the white European strongman. And you take a look in those places. What's the first thing the strong man comes in and does? Crack down. You all don't want to have these kind of conversations like that. I'm going to go ahead and remind you about their history and what they do. Oh, they are all for the white strong man coming in and cracking down. You want to talk about Pinochet? We can do that. You want to talk about any of the others? We can do it. It doesn't matter what place you name. The ones that they lionize most is the white man who comes in and starts putting the boot to everybody. The fellow who comes in and starts cracking down on everyone, not a few people. He exerts his power far and wide. They consider that the abuse of power is what they admire about him. They don't just admire that he is empowered, they most admire that he is abusive in the exercising of his power. Now, if you are unwilling to accept that reality, that that's what the folks from the Caribbean, Haitians, and South America, that's what they like about the white Anglo strongman who comes into power, well, then you will never be able to understand why they respond and act the way they do. So they like and admire an abusive white man who comes in and grabs them and their family members by the throat and shows them who's boss. It's kind of got really just a really kind of twisted psychosexual aspect to it. Don't let me say that too much because Roland will get excited. What? But in any case, yeah, they like a white European strongman who comes in and starts smacking everybody up. Including in their house. Because at least it means he acknowledges your existence. How can you bow and scrape to him if he won't even come by to tell you to bow and scrape? So, you see what the issue there is. That's the issue. So, yes, Donald Trump is a businessman. We businessmen. As if you two are equals. Well, he just told you what his real desire was. He wants to be equal to Trump. He wants to be acknowledged. He wants to be recognized as his peer. And dumping you off, well, that's the cost of doing business. And it started over there. This did not start with Donald Trump, Sassy Martin. This started over there where they came from. They did not learn to kiss white ass over here. They met us and we don't kiss no ass, and that's what made them angry. They were born and raised and weaned to kiss white ass where they came from. So getting smacked up by Trump and friends is not a shame to them. They're not shamed by that.
How dumb can you be, Michael? The man insulted your heritage, insulted your customer base, And your ass, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put that Klan hood on.
He insulted your heritage. Okay? Let me endeavor to go ahead and address that now. Because Roland says the issue, he insulted your heritage. Okay? Interesting. I'll take you up on that one. He insulted your heritage. Brothers and sisters, does this woman look like she cares about Haitian heritage? How about this tic-tac-toe board of dustiness? Do they look like they care about Haitian heritage? Do you think that that's something that they can, do you think that they are insulted about denigrating Haitian heritage? How about this sterling example? Do you think that she is offended at the denigration of Haitian heritage? You think it bothers her at all? You think she's bothered by that? How about this one right here with the gold mop on her head? You think she's insulted? You think that bothers her? That was the point I was making. You all are using terms and codes. You're using codes that you picked up from the foundation. You're using codes you picked up from the foundation. And you're trying to transplant those codes to people who do not have a code and don't respect any of these concepts. That's the issue. That's the problem. So you can use those words and whatnot, but the folks who disrespect and have contempt for Haitian heritage most are the Haitians.
And the man insulted your heritage, insulted your customer base, and your ass, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put that Klan hood on. I'm going to go ahead and vote for that Klansman. Oh, yeah, I'm going to go ahead, because he a great businessman. Oh, you mean the dude who bankrupted? Do you know how dumb your ass got to be to go broke with a casino? Y'all, all the casino is legalized theft. And you got to be really awful to go bankrupt multiple times with casinos. You bought that bullshit Apprentice from Jeff Zucker and NBC, where y'all portrayed Trump as a great businessman. Yo, dumb, he didn't even write his own book, The Art of a Deal. He has been a...
Now listen to this next part, you all. I made notes. Listen to the next thing you're about to hear Roland say.
Fraud. He has been awful. I mean, Barbara Walters exposed his ass. But, okay, fine. Let's say you actually believe he's a great businessman, Michael. Michael, how can you call him a great businessman and your ass is about to lose your business voting for his ass? And he don't care about your ass. Trump ain't coming to his restaurant. Trump ain't sending nobody there. Now he's sending the Venezuelans. He's sending the Haitians, all them dumbass Cubans. He like, yeah.
Oh, man. Oh, did you all hear that?
Venezuelans. He's sending the Haitians, all them dumbass Cubans. He like,
oh, man. Oh, the Cubans are catching strays on Roland's sassy broadcast now. What do you say? The dumbass Cubans? Oh, man.
Sending the Venezuelans. He's sending the Haitians, all them dumbass Cubans. He like, yeah, y'all gone too. All them fools, Latinos for Trump, Latinos for Trump, Latinos for Trump, Latinos for Trump. And then 6 months later, oh my God, I can't believe he's doing this.
Meanwhile, the little butterball was telling all of us, along with Joe Biden, why wasn't he starting off telling us about this black and brown coalition? And now all of a sudden he's not acknowledging the coalition that he was promoting. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, we should protect them being over here so that they can gang up and go vote for the European strongman. Roland was trying to shame all of us into supporting protecting those illegals who turned right around and voted for the European strongman. That was the first thing that they did. So he's not acknowledging his part in the debacle.
Oh, all them assalamu alaikum Muslims sitting here voting for him against Kamala Harris, and they in Dearborn, Michigan, praying 5 times to Allah, going, oh my God, we didn't see it. We told you, dumbasses. This crazy, deranged white racist is exactly who he is. What the hell were y'all thinking?
Well, Roland, there's a few things here. So they're stuck on stupid.
Okay. Now, Michael Imhotep wants to stick his foot in his mouth and then chew vigorously. So listen to what he says, you all.
Well, Roland, there's a few things here. So they're stuck on stupid. Many of them are sexist.
Nigga, what?
Yeah. You all heard that correctly. Uh-huh. He says they're stuck on stupid. All right, got it. Many of them are sexist. And I'm just like, y'all... Michael, I mean, is there a leopard print thong in your closet? What? I'm not asking out of curiosity. I'm just saying based on some of the stuff I'm hearing, I'm like, okay, any day now. You know what they say, y'all, the skeletons, a bone might fall out the closet. You got skeletons in the closet. For these folks here, it's leopard print G-strings. And so it's, Michael, is there something you might want to cop to before the Democrats start drip, drip, drip leaking? Is anything you might want to disclose first? So that we can all just say, oh, okay, well, yeah, they got pictures on him. So it's you got an iPad we need to check out? Damn! Yeah, Michael, is there something on your iPad that might explain a few things? Asking for a friend based on what I'm hearing here. So you just broke off left out of here. I'm like, and you say a bunch of goofy stuff, and now I'm like, okay, where the hell did that come from? With no context, he doesn't explain what the sexist part of anything is, but trust me, they're sexist. Okay, so Michael, I'm like, okay, it's starting to sound like it might be a file with your name on it somewhere. So it's at least disclose this stuff so we can all say, okay, well, he got to talk crazy. Because, yeah, they got him.
What y'all thinking?
Well, Roland, there's a few things here. So they're stuck on stupid. Many of them are sexist. And the other thing is, when you have somebody like Chef Creole, who says he thought Donald Trump was a good businessman. Donald Trump is the king of the grift. His net worth has increased $2.2 billion approximately based upon documents that he provided, based upon reporting. It could be a lot more than that. He's a good businessman grifting for himself, not to help other people, not to help you. And before the election, if you look at reporting from Reuters, you look at reporting from CNBC, they said that Donald Trump, they analyzed Donald Trump's economic plan and Kamala Harris. They said Donald Trump would increase the national deficit They said Donald Trump would drastically hurt the economy because of his immigration plans, because of his ICE raids. Okay. And they said Kamala Harris' economic plan would be much better for the country. So when you go vote, not only against your own business interests, the community that you serve, but against black people, because keep in mind, Donald Trump ran on the campaign of unleashing the police. Who do you think he was going to unleash the police against?
Well, that's an interesting observation right there. Now, isn't it? Let me go ahead and back that up so y'all can hear that one more again.
Drastically hurt the economy because of his immigration plans, because of his ICE raids. Okay. And they said Kamala Harris' economic plan would be much better for the country. So when you go vote, not only against your own business interests, the community that you serve, but against black people, because keep in mind, Donald Trump ran on the campaign of unleashing the police. Who do you think he was going to unleash the police against?
Oh, very good question there, Michael. I'm very glad you said that. Very good question, because you see, that's exactly the point that we've been making now, going on 2 decades here on the Black Channel. That's the whole point that we were making. That we're sitting up here blasting on white supremacy, and yet every time we turn around, there's some newcomer coming over here with a French last name or a Spanish last name or an Asian last name or an Italian last name. And they're the lone Negroes sitting here talking about they watch Fox News and talking about, well, you know, Trump got some good points there. That was the thing that we noticed. That along with the old niggas of the civil rights generation, we could not help but notice that when we started checking paperwork and checking last names on people, we started noticing a pattern that, yeah, there were some black folk who were sitting up here defending the beast, who are defending 3 strikes Biden. It's like, oh, you're not from the civil rights generation. And then next thing you know, you start realizing, well, I'll be damned. I'll be damned. So these very same people will get off the boat from wherever they came in from, and then out of nowhere, while sitting next to us, they'll sit up here and support these policies. Sitting right next to us, sitting at your colleges. Hello, Candace Owens. Damn! Hello, Coleman Cruz. You know, we couldn't help but notice they'll sit right there next to them, supporting these very policies from the very exact same white supremacist beast that we've been fighting all this time. That right there. So when you're talking about, well, who did you think they was going to unleash it on? Well, Mr. Creole King thought they were going to unleash it on us. He already told you that he considers himself to be spiritual brothers with Donald Trump. That's the whole point. This is what our entire pivot has been about, is that we noticed, by the way, we couldn't help but notice a number of names started sounding familiar in origin, and the policies that they were supporting were very familiar and very uniform. So yes, that's exactly what we've been saying the whole time. We've been saying that the entire time. That these folks thought they were working together with the white overclass to target us. They thought that the policies that were being put in place would target us. Let me explain to you all exactly what I mean by that. Let me explain to you all exactly what I mean and why that would make sense. This guy right here, as you can tell, he speaks fluent English. You already got that. However, let's be honest, he's committing a crime. He's committing a crime. He's committing an offense. He's threatened his workers, allegedly. He's allegedly threatened his workers and whatnot. He hates deportation so much that he has allegedly threatened his workers with it. But the bottom line is he's committing a crime. You do understand that the idea that you are exempt from the law is the height of white supremacy. When you want to identify with the oppressor class, there are no rules for the oppressor class. So you see, you've made it when you can abuse, notice I keep using that word, when you can abuse and violate the rules. The rules are not binding on you. Now, he does take a look at foundationals, and then he's like, oh, look at them niggas over there, and we need to crack down on them. Now, if for their crimes, we need to crack down on that. But for him and his criminal enterprise that he calls a food service, oh no, he should be exempt from that. Do you all see what I mean here? So, of course, he would support an increasing of police targeting black folk just so long as the police know, hey, we're the good niggas over here. Why, those of us with our Haitian names or Latino surnames or Asian or whatever surnames, why, we're the good Negroes. Wink, wink. You see, we have an understanding with you in the white overclass. Wink, wink, right? Donald Trump, you understand that employing illegals, well, I mean, yeah, that's against the rules, but it's just business. It's just doing good business. Right? You all connecting the dots now? That's the mindset. That's the mentality. Why, you and I are the same, Mr. Trump. We both understand that sometimes you gotta break a few rules to make an omelet. So you see, Mr. Trump, I'm just like you. Yeah, I don't blame you, white daddy. Bring on the police, have them in the streets. Sometimes you gotta shake some niggas up. I need you all to understand, listen to me carefully, because you won't understand this part right here. Brother Neely Fuller warned you about, if you don't understand white supremacy and how it works, everything else will just confuse you. If you don't understand the colonized coon mind, then everything else you think you understand will just confuse you. Jason, you just said that him and his Haitians are supposed to be, oh, we got the wink, wink, we're accepted here. And yet, by the same token, he will also endorse the police going after other Haitians.
Nigga, what?
I mean, folks, you've turned on your TVs. If you have cable TV, A&E, we all saw it, the first 48. Most of the episodes on the first 48 were down there in where? Little Haiti, the pork and beans. You know, now in retrospect, you realize, oh hell, the first 48, most of their episodes were happening right there in the Haitian part of town. Now, in retrospect, you now realize, oh, wait a minute, those were all Haitians. Okay. So you see, for him, he also would not be opposed to the police going down there and kicking asses and shaking folk up and grabbing them by the neck and beat them down and clear out the block. And he'd be sitting, you know him, he'd be sitting right there cheering for it. That's right. The problem is all them niggas, they sit around, they loiter on the corner right there, they don't go get a job, they should just come work for me so I can not pay them with no wages. So you see that dual schizophrenic mindset there. On the one hand, he wants to have Haitian privilege to identify with white daddy. And on the other hand, if the police do target Haitians, he's okay with that too. As a matter of fact, he would help endorse it. After all, that's the exercising of power. And one of the greatest powers under a system of white supremacy is who you exclude. So, if the rest of you folks are not on the team, if the rest of you folks are left without a chair when the music stops, well, that's too bad for you. Me and Master Trump over here, we got a thing going on. Pause. What does it mean to be off code, young man? What does it mean to be off code? What it means to be off code is that you put your own personal selfish interests ahead and above the interests of the group. If you all want to know what the definition of off code is, very simply put, it is when you put your own personal self-interests, your own personal capitalizing above and in front of the interests of the group. When the sick part of it is you can rise no higher than your people. So when you sell out the people, you're selling out yourself. What you're hoping is you'll be the last one put on the train. That's what you're hoping for. But when you put your personal interests ahead of the group, that's off code. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at our history. Let's take a look at our history here. We have a long history of people who put the interests of the group ahead of their own. We have a long history of that. Folks who could have done a whole bunch of things in a whole bunch of different manners, and yet they put that to the side for the people. I'm not going to go run down a great big long list tonight, but you all understand that. Madam C.J. Walker did not put her interests ahead of the people. She put the people's interests ahead of her own. Booker T. Washington right there also. To the point that they were targeted by the federal government. That's your proof that they put the interests of the group ahead of their own. You see, if they put their own interests ahead of the group, the government would not target them. You don't get targeted by the government when you're putting your interests ahead of the group. You get targeted by the government when you put the group's interests ahead of your own. That's dangerous. Muhammad Ali was willing to give up everything for the good of the group. And his name will live in eternity because he was willing to do that. There was what was best for him, and he was willing to set aside everything that was best for him for the good of the group. That is the template and the model and the culture. What is your culture? That's our culture. Then we take a look at their culture.
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man.
Enough said. And that is exactly the issue that we've been having, because we've been just saying that because folk have the same skin tone as us, that they got the same code as us. And then we start looking at them about putting their personal interests behind the interests of the group. And that's when they start showing you that, oh no, they're putting their interests ahead of everything. And this brings us to the backstabbing culture. I know that's a painful term for people to hear. I know that's a very painful term for people to have to hear, about being reminded about that when you talk about these other cultures, you cannot leave out the essential element of the backstabbing culture. Because by definition, that's what you descend into when you don't have a code. When your interests come first, then it's every man for himself. Everyone is looking to jockey for position for what is personally best for them. So by definition, you will have no choice but to sell out the group. Because selling them out is in your personal best interests, at least in the short term. And they come from cultures where that is applauded. Y'all want me to go here? I know they don't want me to go here with it, but I'm going to say this. There are certain groups out there, certain cultures and places that I've discussed here tonight, that they have long established histories of sex trafficking their own children. We've talked about them now, literally going on decades. They have long established track records of sex trafficking their own children. I submit to you that there is no greater or lower form of proof that you have put your personal interests ahead of the interest of the group than to see the blatant sexualization of your own children. I don't think there's any greater example of putting your personal interests ahead of the interest of the group when you are willing to sell out your own children so that you can make a buck. That goes beyond anything else right there. That goes beyond that, and yet here we are. And yet here we are. I want you all to understand that. I want you all to understand that. I want you all to get that. I want you all to see exactly what that means. So that these folks here who did not know that this was coming, and any of us could have told them the whole damn time, dude, it's not just coming, it's been here the whole damn time. That's exactly why we've had a problem. This has been here the entire time. And it's been condoned and made excuses for and protected, and the government stepped in and the media running interference. And then we just said we're through playing with this. And now, because we have made such a vocalized effort of distinguishing ourselves, once we've done that, well, now you recognize that they got to hold their own stuff now. You see that? Now they got to hold their own. They got to hold their own. In the chat room, DOD2BLK is going to need to call me up here on Zoom. So glad you have so much to say there in the chat room. So glad that you have so much to say. And now you'll have an opportunity to go ahead and state it directly to the host and to the audience. So DOD2BLK is going to give us a call up here on Zoom so that he can articulate these points for the masses. We'll be very glad to go ahead and have that here as well. We'll give him a couple of minutes to go ahead and give us a call for that. I'm sure it's going to be enlightening. I'm sure it's going to be here. So we'll give him a couple of minutes to do that. But while we do that here, I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. Shout out to Nancy King. She said, I hear a lot of we, but FBAs don't speak French. Shout out here to Ray the King 16. Thank you very much for that. Also, Ray the King 16 said that. Nancy said, thank you, JB, for bringing this topic to the forefront. I'm just doing my part, ma'am. Thank you very much for your support. To my man, Mr. Richburg. Thank you for weighing in tonight here, brother. To my man Mark B, to Najee, and everybody else here who's contributed to support tonight's program. We thank you very much for doing that here. We're going to take a very brief non-commercial break here. When we come back, we'll see about taking your calls and more. This is the Black Channel.
Be the teacher, knowledge on the block. Got the kids learning, minds open like a lock. Books and skills from the east to the west. Bringing education, yeah, we're simply the best. Classes on fire, brains burning with desire. Innovation driving like a tire through the mire. Math, science, history, we got the whole range. Kids hitting new heights, teachers making a change. Used to be the teacher, stacking up the grades. Future bright, shining, no need for no shades. Got the youth thriving, moving up the ladder. Smart and sharp, brains growing fatter. Lessons so lit, yeah, they stay in a blaze. Every mind sharp like a sword in the haze. Mr. B in the house breaking knowledge chains. Education kingpin, we repping the gains. Used to be the teacher.
Order yours today to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' Body Butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slaveries and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening, this weekend. And it wouldn't be complete, and we couldn't do what we're going to be doing here if we didn't let you all know that, by the way, there are other things going on here as well. And this is an opportunity for us to weigh in on that also. Because we're showing it's a widespread issue. We have to respond the way that we do because it's not isolated. It's a widespread issue, and they're elevating people. Case in point, going back down to Florida again. Boy, Florida is a non-stop cesspool of problems, isn't it? Oh, man, back in the day, I used to say California, 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 but now it's Florida, Florida, Florida. Florida just seems to be a non-stop parade of coonery, buffoonery, and foolery. And just to prove that, oh, here's Nicki Minaj. And like I say, the Republicans must have promised somebody in the family a pardon. Yeah, they must have promised somebody in her family a pardon. She's stomping for Byron Damn Donalds. You have my vote. She's telling her fan base to please support him however you can. So she is letting you know that she is Team Byron Donalds. We already know the background for both of them, so needless to say, the comment section is, this guy right here decided he wasn't stupid enough, so he's just like, I'm swinging for the fences. He decided her take wasn't dumb enough, he's just going to swing for the fences for that. Okay, so the comment section was, they were a little underwhelmed, to say the least. So, it had some support from the usual suspects, but what can I do to support? I'm in New York City, so, yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Yes, I'll let that one speak for itself, so. Just understand what they're doing there. Now you know to get down. Okay, let's go ahead and jump over here on Zoom right quick. Let's see if we can get Obi up here on Zoom for us here. Please make sure if you're calling on Zoom, make sure you have your camera and your microphone turned on just so we don't have any trolling issues. YouTube is not going to see you. The only person who will see you is me, but just to ensure that there are no trolling issues, make sure you have your camera and your microphone turned on just so it guarantees we don't have any trolling problems there. Or if they do troll, that's up to them. Obi, I'll give you 5 seconds here. Make sure you have your camera and your microphone turned on because you are on. I will give you 3 more seconds here to go ahead and do that, and then we're going to have to move on. Okay, it's not that hard to do that. There's already, it pre-does that, so. Okay, well, Obi is having difficulty there figuring out how to work this newfangled technology, so we'll come back to see if we can get Obi a little bit later here. He's working on mastering this newfangled technology. All right, in the meantime here, let me go ahead and get Brother Elijah up here on Zoom. Brother Elijah, what's on your mind?
Hey, big brother. All right, B1. All right, and the family. Hey, big brother, for the interest of time, I ain't going to take hog up the space, but you I retweeted your Twitter space, excuse me, not your space, I retweeted your Twitter tweet when the Haitians got rejected by the president of Nevis, and I quote, "There's a lot going on with the Haitians right now. St. Kitts and Nevis doesn't want Haitian refugees, and Haiti is saying there will be no special treatment for Haitians who return after losing TPS in America." So was this about being in danger, or was this a scam all along? Brother, when you tie that statement in with tonight's broadcast, you know you're down bad when a small country like St. Kitts Nevis, all right, doesn't want you, because they're asking the same question foundational Black Americans are finally having. What good is having these worthless, backstabbing, all right, musty, stink bastards, lying bastards around us? Especially they're mocking their own getting sent home. That's my question, big brother.
Well, I mean, the real thing is that when you talk about things like assimilating, you also have to ask who you're assimilating. And
yes, sir.
If they come from cultures where there is no unity, there is no code of conduct, it's every man for himself, then don't be surprised when they get among you and everything is lying, scamming, stealing, and every man for himself. And because American prisons are penthouses compared to what they're used to, where they come from. Also, by the way, I also put up a video from Haiti's Consul General. He said that the Haitian government has no obligations toward the temporary protected status beneficiaries.
What? Yes, sir.
And that if they show back, he said, who choose to return to Haiti, they're being deported. And he said that their return should not be viewed as a situation requiring specific preparations on the part of the state. The point about this is that you got folk trying to demand money. I want you all to see now. He was speaking in French, in case you all didn't know or whatever.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's why I'm not playing what he said, because the whole interview was done that way. However, the whole interview was done that way, but I wanted you, it was done Creole the whole way. The comment section was what I really wanted folks to focus on. Take a look at what some of the comments said. Look here. The people's money is what's paying that scoundrel. He doesn't even bother to offer a bit of moral support to a suffering people. That guy's got a good chance of having a stroke to spike the salt. Okay. This guy here, this person represents a country they don't know what's happening in the country, or they don't understand, but don't understand the work they've done. Deportation is not an ordinary return. Okay. Then there's this John Jarvis, so I don't know who in the hell they're supposed to be.
Yes,
the
sir.
Haitian government has the responsibility to protect and support its nationals who are victims of social, political, and migratory crises, particularly our compatriots affected by the loss of TPS. Wait a minute, TPS is an American political issue.
Yes, sir.
Haitian nationals? Wait a minute, they're not. You're not a Haitian national when you're trying to become an American. Y'all get the point? So this is basically ho-babble here. Whoever gives them the greatest benefits, that's all they're jockeying for. Well, that's not being a refugee. You're not a refugee because you're trying to get a better deal. That's not what being a refugee is. All this is now is a take. And what they'll let Haitian nationals, how are you a Haitian national and you're trying to actively divorce yourself from Haiti? That's not a Haitian national. That's a leech. Furthermore, the state must establish a financial compensation mechanism. Folks, I mean, he's literally sitting here saying that, okay, America's giving them money. Now they want Haiti to give them money. The state must establish a financial compensation mechanism for the folks who fled, following a fair assessment of the losses caused by banditry and by its inability to ensure the protection of people and property. The folks who fled talking about y'all need to pay me. This compensation must take into account abandoned, destroyed, or occupied homes, as well as businesses, enterprises, establishments, and other affected assets. A national petition must be encouraged to allow victims to collectively demand, as quickly as possible, compensation proportionate to the damages suffered. A national petition must be launched to allow victims to collectively demand, as quickly as possible, compensation proportionate to the damages suffered. Okay, repeating themselves there. But victims must not be abandoned to their fate. The state must assume its responsibilities. Wait a minute. You snuck and broke into somebody else's country. And now he's saying if they get sent back, America was taking care of them for welfare. And if they go back to Haiti, well, where's my welfare? So I just wanted you all to understand the comments on here and what they were saying. They are angry that they can't freeload in America anymore. They're not talking about going back to Haiti and working hard. They're talking about, hey, by the way, Haiti, you need to give me some stuff too. So in the words of Marcus Garvey, they were useless in Haiti. Now they're useless in America. And if they go back to Haiti, they'll be useless there. All this is about is seeing where they can go ahead and grift the most from. But it is not about being a net positive or a net benefit. That's not what they're doing. So people are starting to just say, yeah, you know, you're not a charity case. You're looking more like a leech in this regard. And it's not that's not to say the United States has not tampered in Haiti. That's not to say that at all. The United States has certainly done that. However, listen to the arguments that they're making.
Yes, sir.
They're not making arguments about fixing for themselves. They're making arguments about, by the way, somebody needs to give me a lot. I mean, they disregarded, ask not what Haiti can do for you, ask what you can do for Haiti.
Your country, yes.
They're like, oh, no, don't ask what I can do for Haiti. What can Haiti do for me? And it's like, you know what? Why don't we leave you back there in Haiti until you have attitude change? I'll let you have the last word.
Hey, big brother, pardon me, if you have to G-check me, I'll take it, you know, and still love there. But I'm going to say this, big brother, you know, pertaining to these worthless, nasty bastards, all right, big brother. Brother, you were the first one, I'm going to be quick, you were the first one that played our big brother when he went on stage on National Action Network, Melrose Radio, when he did that. Hey, they don't have our check, all right? We're talking about reparations. He made a comment, particularly what you're talking about Haiti. They're the longest one-hit wonder. And I have to say this, after listening to tonight's broadcast, I respectfully disagree with that because they are a no-hit wonder. There's no way in the world you went and fought off the French, the British, and the Spanish for you to turn around and be a leeching, welfare, worthless bastards. There's no way in the world that happened. They're a no-hit wonder. You said it best, big brother, 5 years ago. They don't move like how we move. They did that just so they can jive around because right after that so-called revolution, they turned around and killed the same man that led them to their physical freedom. Okay, and you were the one that coined that. I was the first person to hear from. They won the war but lost the peace. They failed to keep the peace. Brother,
the problems go back to the very beginning is the issue. And until
yes,
I believe all of us can benefit from that, but until you sit down and have them have a face-to-face and
yes, sir.
Have a leveling and a reckoning with themselves about what the culture is and what their values are, and that they are not cohesive, They only talk about being Haitian when they're sitting in front of us. Okay, but in front of each other, it has no value until you have a brutal reckoning with that part right there. And
Yes,
that
sir.
this is not new. This is not something that happened after the United States. This is something that's been there. And until you reckon with that and level with that and come to grips with that, you can't fix anything. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let's go ahead and see if we can try Charles here on Zoom. Let's see if we can try Charles here on Zoom. There you go, Charles. What's on your mind?
Thank you very much. And this topic is very, I like this topic because it shows how people who have been, the Haitians and other, people in the diaspora have just been on a free ride. They have been on a free ride and disparaging, black people and such, and doing all these other things. And yet, they want us to when the chips are down, when they even post their stuff saying they want to be destructive, and when that destruction happens, when that horrible thing happens, they want us to come and defend them. They want us to come in and save them, and screw the entire dysfunction they have, save them from their own dysfunction. And I'm honestly tired of it. I am sick to death of trying to save people from their own dysfunction and just trying to be like, oh, well, like you show on the screen right now, they're going on the passports and showing all this type of stuff, trying to we're doing all this other things. It's the same thing in Nigeria and such with the Japa stuff. They flee and that they puff up their chest saying, I'm proud to be Haitian. I'm proud to be Nigerian. I'm proud to be this. I'm proud to be that. But yet, they're not proud enough to actually fix their own country. They don't have the same pride to actually come down and actually,
Well, everyone wants to sell us on the value of Haiti, but they only want to do it in America. Everyone wants to sell us on the value of Nigeria. They only want to do that in America. No one is standing in Nigeria trying to sell you on that. No one's in Haiti trying to sell you on that. Nobody's in the Dominican Republic trying to sell you on it there. So the only time that becomes a slogan is when they're standing in front of you here. Because the bottom line is that, look, folks gravitate where things are popping, except us. This is where we want to be at because this is what we built. And so for everybody else here, they went where it's popping at. They went where it's going at. If things were up and running and everything was cool, they would be there doing it. They would already be there. You would not be coming halfway around the world. That would be a tremendous interruption of your damn life. No, if things are going, even if things were equal, it would be a complete waste of time to leave. You're leaving because it's not. And what I'm saying is, okay, well, let's have a heart to heart about why it isn't. Not to spare your ego, but to have a brutal reckoning with why is that a problem? What is the real issue? And if we are not allowed to do that, then it's like, okay, you probably don't belong among us because there is an unresolved illness going on here. There's an unresolved defect. And until that defect is addressed, the only thing you can really do is leech off of somebody else and lead them down the same road. I'll let you have the last word.
And they're trying to leech off of white folk, but white folk don't play with that BS. They don't play. They're just like, you know what? No, we're going to kick you out. We're not playing this much anymore. Or we'll, use you. We'll find a new toy to play with. That's, if I'm going to get real, that's why all these Indians, from India and everything else come here. I mean, there was I think I saw one video and such saying that they're trying to have a hate crime law saying, oh, you can't talk anything this mess to Indians, I think in Louisiana or something. They got that new shiny toy and we don't want to play with you anymore. And now they realize it's the wake-up call. And there's no one out there to save them. There's nobody out there to save anybody now. And they're going to have to do two things. Are they going to, debase themselves more? Or to actually grow a spine and actually build where they are?
Well, I think that what happened, and thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. I think that what happened for the Haitians is that a lot of them came up through Florida. Follow me. I think a bunch of them came up through Florida, particularly after the 1960s. And you all remember what was happening back then. You had a large influx of Cubans. You had a large influx of Cubans. Castro takes over and whatnot. And then you had the wet foot, dry foot policy that the U.S. foolishly put into place, thinking it was going to destabilize Cuba. It did no such thing. It destabilized America. But what you had were a large group of white Cubans. You had a large influx of white Cubans come to America. Now, their experience was a bit different. Why? White Cubans were kind of celebrated. White Cubans were kind of given their in. As a matter of fact, straight to Hollywood, and one of the biggest movies of cultural impact, Al Pacino and Scarface. So, right off the bat, Cubans as an entity, Cubans as an ethnic group there in America was really being embraced heavily. And then when you have that movie in particular, that was beyond embracing it. I mean, that became a part of American gangster pop culture. I mean, it was no longer just the Italians anymore. Now you got the Cubans with folk lionizing them in that manner. And what I'm saying to you is that the Haitians were coming in at the same time. I think that they saw what was happening with the Cubans and how the Cubans were being, basically were, when you go to southern Florida, you know, you can't get away from it. And as a result, the Haitians saw what was happening with the Cubans and told themselves that they were going to run the same play and they were going to get the same results. And it didn't happen for them like that. They wanted the same results. They wanted to run the same play, but it didn't go down like that. They haven't gotten to a point and will not be able to get to a point where they can sit up here and just say, oh, we're the culture here and whatnot. It didn't actually happen. That didn't actually occur. So with that being the case, no good. No good. Let's go ahead and jump over here on Zoom here. Let's go ahead and jump back over here on Zoom. Let's see if we can get owner up here for us. Okay. Well, there you go.
I'm so sorry. I couldn't figure out how to get my name up on the screen. This is Angelic. This is for the audience. This is Angelic Elena calling from Nashville, Tennessee.
All right, Angelic, what's on your mind?
What's on my mind is that thinking about seeing how treacherous these people are, talking about the Haitians, how they are with each other, with their flashing their passports and making these obnoxious, just disgusting displays. It makes me think about this is why their countries, and not just Haiti, this is why their countries are in the condition that they're in. That's why they're in the shape that they're in. And the person who made that comment, and someone that made that DOD, whoever was, made that comment in the chat saying, oh, well, America is why Haiti is in the condition that it's in. I do want you to talk some more about that. Talk about the interference of America and France, their interference, and talk about that. And also compare it to the fact that, and I sort of think about this too, if they were on code with each other, how much could have America, they were going to interfere. They could have interfered, but the level of interference wouldn't have been as bad as it was on Haiti if they had been on code. It's not as if the U.S. government hasn't interfered with our lineage and our people right here on this land. And because we've been on code with each other, we've been able to fight them off and fend them off. We haven't been always successful in every battle, but we've been able to fend them off here on this land. And
because we developed a culture of resistance. So it's like any foreign substance that enters a body. You know, we became antibodies. We developed a culture of resistance. That did not happen in Haiti. They fought for survival, but once the war was over, they then fought for integration. Mm-hmm. They wanted to legitimize their Europeanness. They wanted to have that, you know, they wanted to have that acknowledged. They wanted to have that accepted. which is why they paid reparations to France. They wanted to have that accepted. They really, really did. Which is why even after the French were gone, they didn't do a full stop and say, okay, who were we before these colonizers got here? Which would have been the basic thing for you to do. If you've really freed yourself, first of all, you free yourself mentally. Who was I? What was I before these colonizers got here? What was I? That simply never happened. And the brutal reality is they did not want to know. They had no interest in going there. They were really trying to figure out how to get France to accept them again. Because that to them had status. And if you don't believe me, anybody who's been in the Dominican Republic has seen the same thing. The Dominicans want to be accepted by Spaniards on Spanish terms, not on Dominican terms. They want to be, that island of Hispaniola is, it's literally split in half, which is the definition of schizophrenia when you think about it. And so you have one half that wants to be accepted by the French on French terms, and another half that wants to be accepted by the Spanish on Spanish terms. So with that being the case, you don't develop an identity of your own, and without developing an identity of your own, you get sucked back in and pulled back into somebody else's. Take us, for example. We started developing everything ourselves, independently. A cultural dynamic, a musical dynamic, a religious dynamic, a social dynamic. We had to set up and develop our own identity out of that. And that was what we came away with it. And so as time went on, you might have seen some things that were similar, but you never saw us executing it the same way. You take a look at our music, our style, our form of speech. Whether you talk about politicians, you can recognize a black politician without seeing him. Think about that. I'm not talking about just now. I'm talking about from the very beginning. All the way back to Hiram Revels and the others. Frederick Douglass, you could recognize a black politician without seeing him. That tells you, okay, this is totally different. He speaks the same language, but you can just read their words and tell, okay, this is not the Europeans. This is somebody else. This is something else. That's the difference. With these other groups, you can't tell that there's no daylight between them and the Europeans. So what we are saying to them, as far as they're concerned, is poison and torment to their ears. That you will have to leave that colonization mindset behind you. They don't want to do that. Which is why I brought up, by the way, do you realize that the majority of these Caribbean females, when I'm going to talk about the males, that's just a total washout. But by the way, the majority of the Caribbean females, even though there is no white population to speak of, most of them have gotten their interracial sexual wings. Now, they need to have a sit down and, heart to heart with themselves about, by the way, how is that even physically possible? What is it about our culture that keeps doing that? Not 50 years ago, but does it today? What is it about our culture that does this so reliably? But you'd have to sit and talk to yourselves and have an honest conversation about why that is. Now you can actually fix some problems, but if you're unwilling to face your problems, you can't fix your problems.
Yep. Well, that's all I have to say. Thank you for taking my call. Black first.
Thank you for joining us tonight, sister. Be one as always. Yeah, you all got to understand that, man. You got to understand that. You got to understand that. In the chat room, open can of worms. Give me a call up on Zoom here. While you're doing that, Open Can of Worms needs to give me a call up on Zoom. Let me go ahead here and see if we can go ahead and
on Zoom
get back
here.
up on Zoom. Morpheus, turn off your speakers, sir.
Sorry about that. All
right, what's on your mind?
How you doing? No, I was just calling to back you up. I love the broadcast. I'm here in Orlando, Florida, so I do have a lot of experience with Haitians. I even dated them. The one reason I stopped dating the women is that I just noticed, not just the women, but the men too, their culture has a lot of paranoia, and I could never understand why, right? And it's interesting when you start talking about backstabbing culture. You're absolutely correct. I had a homegirl, we were just friends, and she was Haitian. Matter of fact, she's a dreamer. She got her parents snuck her over here at 6 years old. And when we knew each other, she was 28, and she still didn't have her papers, right? But the reason I'm bringing her up, she told me one of the reasons why she doesn't talk to her dad is that he was doing some type of voodoo. He found a voodoo doll underneath her bed. I kid you not. And she used to have these crazy nightmares and stuff. But I'm bringing that point is if you can't trust your own parents, you can't trust anyone. And
that goes deep, brother. I mean,
I
that right there, what you just said, that's a very deep thing. With no disrespect to her, but can you imagine trying to have a relationship with her now that you know that's the family dynamic? How do you have a relation? How much has happened that she didn't tell you about? How much has occurred that you don't even know about? Imagine trying to have a relationship with that.
It's funny you mention that because she always had relationship issues.
You think?
And of course, you mentioned it earlier, and she dated white guys too. Because I do notice a lot of Caribbean women, they're very eager to date white people, very eager. But yeah, and once I started, it's not just her. A lot of them, they have like this backstabbing culture. Like I can't even tell you the stories I've heard from Haitians that came from Haiti that tell me what's going on over there. But it's not just Haitian. It seems to be everyone is not Black American. I'm gonna keep it real with you. Because I hear crazy stories from Nigerians. Like for example, I don't know if you remember that singer, Jadena, that light-skinned dude. They asked, oh, why you don't go to Nigeria? And he said the quiet part out loud that, hey, I'm light-skinned, and if I go over there, they're gonna kill me. Then Nigeria got all mad because he said the quiet part out loud. But I heard other Nigerians say that. That's why the ones that do make it don't go back. Because if they go back, they'll try to kill them. Same thing for the Haitians too. There's such a backstabby culture. And you know, when you was talking about this, I remember this proverb my mom always said. I think a lot of Black Americans say this because I remember Tariq talking about how we have a culture that we don't like liars, which is true. We don't like liars. My mom always told me, if you lie, you cheat. And if you cheat, you steal. And if you steal, you kill. And that's so true. When you come from a culture like that, and when you really think about what I just said, it makes sense why you see what you see in Haiti and stuff like that.
Yeah, once again, these are dynamics that, you know, we really have to examine and identify. We already did that, and we noticed, by the way, hey, we couldn't help but notice a lot of the folk who, quote, look like us and being passed off like us don't come from our lineage. So that was a thing that we had to acknowledge that answered a lot of questions. And so if they want to be able to fix their problems, they're going to have to look at some unpleasant things and start identifying that as the issue and the problem so they can start talking about, okay, what is this dynamic here? What's going on here? Why are we okay with the boot licking? Why are we okay with the ass kissing? Why are we okay putting our individual interests ahead of the interests of the group? Why is that something that's not just accepted but celebrated among us, even when it's so destructive? What is it about that? And what do we need to do to kick that in the rear and to correct that? But first, you have to be able to admit and accept that it's wrong, that there's something bad about it. Because there's the real problem right there is that we're talking about it like it's a negative, but do they? Do they accept and acknowledge this is a negative? And I submit to you, not so much.
And also what I found out is that not just Haitians, but everyone is not foundational. I noticed this. They have a white worship. Like they worship white people. If you really listen to them carefully, they really do. Like have heard multiple people from the islands tell me this when I talk about, you know, white supremacy and stuff. They're like, oh, you Black Americans are jealous of white people. Like, why would you even think that? You know what I mean? Or they try to downplay any of our achievements. You know what I'm saying? And one of the reasons why they want to tether onto us so much, because as you know, before they didn't want to do nothing with us. Oh, I'm not Black, I'm Haitian. Oh, I'm not Black, I'm Nigerian, right? But when they realize hip hop, how powerful it is with white people, because you know, white people come up. I remember as a kid in here in Orlando, right? I'll go to, my mom put me to like a white school, and the white kids would come up to you, oh, teach me how to dance, teach me how to break dance. And I would see the Haitians, I would see all of them. They're like, wow, like hip hop is powerful. And that's why they want to attach us to it. Not so much that they want the money. They see that as that is getting closer to white people. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know, brother, my response to that is, if anybody wants to say something like you were just talking about, my response to that is going to be, when you come among us, statues of white colonizers come down. When you go among them, statues of white colonizers go up.
And deal with it, nigga.
And that's all I got to say about that. I'll let you have the last word.
Yeah, once again, great broadcast. One last thing, if people don't know, a lot of Haitians are Catholics. Catholicism is very heavy there, so they're going to have a lot of white figures on their in their lands and stuff like that. So yeah, that's all I want to say. Great podcast.
Yeah, you don't see any of us looking to make the next statue of the next great white king to leer at our schools or at our airports or whatever. Among us, we put up statues of Marion Barry, and I'll let Andrew Young have his moment. That's fine. We put up statues of our folk. They putting up statues of colonizers to this day, by the way. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Yeah, well, on our block where we from, we take down statues of colonizers and white supremacists. Where they from, they put up statues of white supremacists. And if they don't have any, they'll go find some white supremacists to put up a statue of. They'll go find some to put up some statues of. All right, let's go ahead and see if we can go back over here on Zoom again here. I'll see somebody's on their Galaxy here. I'll give them a few moments here. If they stepped away from their phone or whatever, we're going to move on here. But make sure y'all are awake. There you go. Turn off your speakers, sir.
Thank you, Jason. This is Daryl from Chicago.
All right, Daryl, on your mind.
Excellent broadcast as always. Excellent broadcast. Jason, you spoke. Wow, it's unbelievable. I have a neighbor that is from Haiti, and we get in conversations all the time. And I tell him that, what's going on, and he nods his head yes, and he goes do opposite, totally opposite. And then he'll run back and find out why it doesn't work. And then he'll go to the white dude. White dude tell him the same thing I told him. He'll listen to that. And the white dude told him, where'd you learn that from? The guy over there. I said, why don't you listen to him? Well, it feels more credibility coming from you. And the guy looked at him and he started laughing, the white dude. And I know him too. And he just laughed. And it's really funny how you say what you're saying, and it's just off the charts with these people. And I've seen so much buffoonery. I just know one thing, though. And you said this before. If we went over to Haiti as foundational blacks or indigenous, we'd clean Haiti out. That would be the popping place in the world to come to.
1 calendar year.
Less than that. I'll give it less than that, Jason.
But that is precisely the reason why we wouldn't be able to do it.
There you go.
Because they know that, just like everywhere else, they know if we showed up, we're going to do everything except the one thing they want most. We're not going to bring them no white asses to kiss.
There you go.
That's the issue. We're going to do every damn thing these other folk have done times 10 to the 10th power, 10 times better than them. The only thing we're not going to do for you is bring you white asses to kiss and bow to. And they're going to be like, okay, that's a deal breaker. Y'all get back on the plane. We don't want it. Whatever you selling, we ain't trying to get it. We ain't trying to get you ain't bringing no white asses to kiss, no white women, no white men to bow to. Okay, get back on the damn, get back on JetBlue, nigga. Get back on it. We through. And that's literally the way it goes. I'll let you have the last word.
Jason, that's so true. That's so true. I appreciate the really insight information, because it allows people to really see this thing. And you stated the crash and burn is already in effect. They're crashing and burning. They're trying to grab hold of anything they can grab hold of. And the bottom line is now, all of a sudden, we're their brother, or or whatever it may be now. They want to latch on to us. It's too late for that. We moved up to another level, Jason. You and I both know that. And that's the best thing I can say about it. And pray for them. Be one.
Thank you very much for giving us a call. And I be one as always, brother. And like I said, this critical moment for them, what they've latched on to is mock other Haitians about being deported and this, that, and the other. It's like, where's the unity at there, man? And that was our whole point, is that, yeah, this is what we've been saying the entire time. We've been talking about this the entire time. All right, let's go ahead and jump back over here on Zoom again. Let me see if I can get Rhonda up here on Zoom for me. Let me see if we can get Rhonda up here on Zoom. Hopefully Rhonda has not dipped out on us here. Hopefully that is not the case. If we can get them up here, we will. If we can't, we won't. Rhonda, make sure you have your camera and your microphone turned on for me here. Make sure you have that taken care of so that we can do this thing here. Please make sure you check on that. All right, Rhonda, I can give you 5 seconds. Make sure you have those turned on for me here. I can give you 3 more seconds here, Rhonda. Make sure there you go. All right, Rhonda, what's on your mind?
Well. I am so happy to see that somebody is coming out with the real truth. In essence, I have been following you for a while. We have a public and private ecosystem. It's built on the construction industry, right in the areas that's needed for resiliency. And I tell you, a lot of people don't look at it as who is the Black community and what does that represent and what have we been through that they can't identify with. It's just not easy to fit in the shoes of those who have first speak to the first wall. Okay, we was the ones that was led in Florida to a wall of a division when we first came into play. Now, they don't want to talk about that first wall. That first wall caused 80,000 of our African-American community to be, from the transatlantic slavery, to be put in a separation between the Native Americans, which were Black, to come up with this treaty, the 1866 treaty. And they need to just delve a little deeper. I'm not going to go into it. I know it's time frame wise. But I appreciate you bringing out the truth because it tells you that first wall, it starved out over 80,000 of our people, African Americans, against the Native Americans, to tell them this 1866 treaty was intended for the transatlantic slave. But yet and still, if you all can align with us to help keep them enslaved, and then as we do our thing with that, like I said, that first wall, and where shit was starved out, 80,000 of us, they had the game going. They had a strategy. And whatever that it is, we don't want to align with anyone that did not ask us how this went. Because the point is, resiliency, if they don't know about it from the American standpoint, from the Black Americans, then you ain't talked to nobody. And if you didn't want...
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. So, yes, I need a right on sound drum. Somebody playing the piano. Right on. That's what I need for that. All right, let's go ahead and see if we can jump back over here on Zoom again. Let me see. Somebody's calling on their Samsung. Let me see if I can get that. Let me see if I can get that right quick. Okay, I don't know what's going on here. Whoever that is, just strange things are occurring. Make sure you have your camera and your microphone turned on here. I'll give you 5 seconds and then we're going to have to move on. Samsung, I can give you 3 more seconds and then we're going to have to move on. Samsung, I can give you 1 more second and then we're going to have to move on. All right, Samsung, you'll take the rest of the weekend here off. Let's see if we can get Superpower Media up here. Let's see if we can get Superpower Media up here now. All right, let me get Superpower Media. There you go. Superpower Media, what's on your mind?
That was wild, Jason.
They usually are. It's the weekend, brother. You know how it is. They usually are. And I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. It's
There's
fine.
nothing I hate more.
What's on your mind?
That was some prison babble out here. Yeah, but the thing is that you spoke the truth tonight, and the main thing is people don't have a fight to fight for their own homeland. This is what you have. I mean, you have the people that comes over here from Haiti, man. Those people told us that, oh, we have a homeland to go back to. What do y'all have? What? Okay. So when the shit hit the fan, now we see what they really about. About nothing, man. I mean, them people don't stand on anything. And it's sad, man, to watch to watch what's happening going down with these people, because they have a great homeland over there to go back to. They have a country to go back to, all of that to go back and fix, but they'll never do it, man. The heart and the soul is out. I mean, what they fought for back in the 1800s, man, that's it's so sad to watch these people just crumble and go through this, what they're going to, because that man with them church shoes on, man, can you imagine what he was doing inside of that building? He probably was on his knees crying to them white folks, man, and then come outside and to cry in front of that camera, man. That was pathetic. And that's the whole point what FBA been talking about. If y'all ain't gonna stand up and fight for your own homeland, man, that is pitiful, Jason.
I mean, brother, look here. I mean, I can't take anybody seriously talking about their, quote, homelands if I don't see them doing what APAC and the ADL are doing. I can't take you seriously. That's a group of folk who are serious. They're serious. Yeah. They're serious about their homeland and everything else. They don't move thousands, they move billions of dollars. They are over here nonstop. They are openly, they got planes going to Israel. You want a car, you want a jet, you want an apartment, you want a penthouse, what you need. Okay, they're serious about that. These folk over here are bull jiving. You're not serious about a damn thing. You're just sitting up here babbling because you don't really want to have to accept what the issue is. And here's the problem. If you won't stand 10 toes down for Haiti, I'd be a damn fool to think you're going to stand 10 toes down for us. I'd be a damn fool to think that. And that's why I bring up by the way, do you know what the females from the Caribbean do? I'm like, yes, I understand the colonizers are there, but do you understand that you've developed a taste for them? Yes, I understand the colonizers have been there. I understand they've been militaristically taking over things. I understand they've been meddling for a century. I get that. But do you get that, by the way, you've developed a taste and an appetite for it? Now, do you see that? Because we can remove the colonizers today, but if you still have a taste for colonization, you will, at best, you will go look to bring the colonizers back. And at worst, if you can't find any colonizers, you will imitate them and mimic them. And you will become them to yourselves because you're so institutionalized, you can't focus on identity without it. Now, that's the point right there. That part right there. If we can't resolve that, if you can't resolve that, then that becomes an issue. And yes, it is a shame. And it's absolutely ridiculous here that you would be looking up and seeing something like that. This goes, I want y'all to understand that for all the outsiders who own these gossip websites and whatnot, you've never seen this kind of thing. Whether George Floyd or Mike Brown or whatever, you might have had some folks twerking on a police car. You did not have folks sitting up here mocking it like that. Now that was what didn't happen. You had some childishness and some immaturity happening, and we never want that. I mean, fellas were out there with their Michael Jackson jackets on CNN. It's just like, okay, you're doing a bit much. What you didn't have were folks sitting up here saying, hey, here's the newest TikTok challenge. Let's mock it. Let's mock what we're doing. Let's mock each other. And what I'm saying to you is that, and this is going to hit home, brother. This is going to hit home right quick. I'm letting y'all brace yourselves. Folks, I was bringing this up to you all about this challenge to do this to themselves and whatnot because I wanted you to understand something here. Could it be that this is indicative of the chickens coming home to roost? Yes, follow me here. That's why I brought this thing up there. Y'all have spent years now trying to perpetuate and capitalize and collaborate with the white supremacists and whatnot and try to paint us in the worst light possible. Did you ever consider that you have accepted this and adopted this into your own cultural DNA? And now that we're no longer rocking with you like that, just like MAGA, when they came to power, the first thing they started doing was going at each other. When they came, putting them in power brought them under real stress because now they have to deliver. And when they were stressed to deliver, they started going at each other. Well, Now, you all are stressed, and what's the first thing you're doing? Why, you're going at each other. And I'm just saying, you're mocking each other, and we've seen this before. I've been telling you about this for years. In Nigeria, y'all don't want me to do this. You go look on Nigerian Twitter. If you ain't from the right tribe, they on your ass. You're all Nigerians, but they spend their time going at each other day and night. They spend their time going at each other day and night. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. It's not hard to find. I'm showing you all that stuff before. Y'all don't need me to keep doing that. Okay. Do y'all know the same thing happens with the Kenyans? What? Damn! Oh, okay. Oh, nobody ever mentioned that before? All right. The Kenyans, I talked about that before. Some of the biggest OnlyFans models, or at least some of the countries with the biggest OnlyFans followings. Yikes. Kenya, Ethiopia, Rwanda. Oh, man. Sudan. They don't want us doing this. They don't want us doing this, brother. You don't really want that to become something. And what I'm saying is that, yeah, you've kind of made this practice where you thought you were going to team up with the white supremacists going at us. And in reality, you have inducted this poison into your souls. And now, in reality, the white supremacists are not scared of you because they can see all this. They can see what you're really made of and what you're really doing. So you've been trying to use that and weaponize that against us all this time. But in reality, you've indoctrinated that as a part of your cultural DNA. And this is your proof that that's happened. It's not on its way. This is your proof that that has occurred. That's it right there. This is the proof that that has occurred. And now it's starting to look real gossipy over there. And I will submit to you that just like among the Africans, that's led to permanent schisms and permanent wounds. Now Haiti appears to be poised for the same thing. You know, this doesn't turn out well. This doesn't turn out well.
Yep.
I'll let you have the last word.
That's the honest truth. I mean, they can never fix this. I mean, this is beyond fixing, because I mean, the people that don't stand on code with each other, man, you're gonna crash and burn every time. Be one, Jason.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight, brother. We appreciate that. In the chat room, somebody was asking, how is it that the Nigerians, you know, you understand how Nigeria is still a country with all the tribalism? Well, I mean, when you take a look at us, you see, among us, the issue was that we didn't have those same luxuries. We didn't give ourselves those same luxuries. We did not focus on those divisions. Divisions are not a luxury we gave ourselves. However, if we are being brutally frank, continental Africans have always had that. Well, why do you think the Europeans found them so ready to engage in the slave trade? So they found people who were already on that type of time. And they're like, okay, you're already ready to go ahead and you're already with the program. So let's go ahead and rock that. Do you all notice what we did? What we have done, listen to me. What we have done is exactly the inverse. You have these other groups who they made it their cultural practice to be tribalistic as hell. We are universally recognized as the most inclusive people in America and actually on the planet. What? Let me go ahead and rock with this right quick. Let me go ahead and fill this out right. Let me go ahead and fill it on out for y'all right quick. Can you feel me? You don't have non-black people targeted when they're among us. They're taken care of among us. They've never been targeted. We never target them as a group. We don't target their children. You can have a white chocolate in the NBA because the black kids did not target him. They did not try to harm him. If they wanted to harm you, you would have got. We don't do that. We do not do that. When the Asian kids show up in our neighborhoods, the Asian kids at the housing projects, we don't do them like they do black folk in Chinatown. We don't target them. White women are more accepted among black people than they are among white men.
And deal with it.
You know that is actually a fact. How do you know it's a fact? Because any white woman will tell you the only problem that they have going to the black clubs is that they get treated, that the folks there are too friendly. The only complaint that white women have about going to a black club, nobody's going to be calling her out of her name. No one's going to be throwing racial epithets. No one's going to be throwing slurs. Nobody's going to try to bust her ass up. The only complaint that white women have at a black club is that the folks here are too friendly. We are too accepted. You've never heard a white woman say, I don't want to go to the black clubs because I'll be mistreated. They'll target me. I'll be mistreated. I'll be abused. You've never heard it, and you never will. Among athletes, you go to Atlanta, you go to Houston, you go to Chicago. White athletes are not abused by black audiences. They're not abused by black sports fans. Their whiteness is not a negative among us. We do not target people for mistreatment. Now, all around the world, when you put a black person in white sports arenas, what? Damn! Lie. Now, all around the world, when you put black folk in white sports arenas, doesn't matter what country you're in, well, automatically you start getting mistreated. It doesn't matter how big the audience is or how small they are. It always happens. The culture of abuse and mistreatment and injustice. So you see, these other groups have practiced tribalism, and as a result, it has led to continual conflict. We did exactly the opposite. We became inclusive. We welcomed people. We prided ourselves on not being like the rest of these bastards. We prided ourselves on that. We prided ourselves on that to a fault. That's just how good we are. We prided ourselves on that till we took it to a fault. And I would admonish you that that's actually something to be proud of as well. You shouldn't make knee-jerk decisions. By the same token, how well has tribalism served these other people? We're not a people practicing tribalism. We are a people practicing justice. We are a people practicing justice. Let me explain to you, it still continues unabated. We still rock with anybody who is on code. It does not matter where you are from, so long as you are genuinely on code. No bull jive, no scamming, no faking. As long as you are actually, really, truly, in your heart of hearts on code, we down with anybody who's down with that. Ain't a damn thing changed. What has changed is all the off-code cultures. We have now simply expanded it to Kunin to recognize something called off-code cultures. Specifically, some geographic points of origin. But that is not practicing tribalism. That's practicing justice. And if you have become practicing of injustice, we are making it clear that we've drawn a hard line, that we are not going to play nice with people who practice injustice against us, no matter what you look like. That's not tribalism. That's justice. There is not, there never has been, nor will there ever be a problem with us and white society. There is nothing wrong with being white. There is everything wrong with being a white supremacist.
And deal with it.
Now, when you cross that line from being white to practicing white supremacy, now you get the smoke. Your whiteness is not a negative. We've been looking at Anglos since before there were Anglos. We're not shocked. We're not jumping out of our skin. We're not impressed. It's going to cost you the same thing to get this cab ride across town as it's going to cost everybody else. If you're coming here expecting to get white privilege, we ain't got nothing to give you, nor do we desire it. You will be treated like everybody else. And that's all you should expect, to be treated the same as everybody else. And as long as you remember to practice that, you won't have any trouble over here. However, if you're looking for trouble, you found the right place. Now, that's not tribalism. That's justice. We're not looking for trouble, but if you want it, we can serve you. We can serve it. However, we'd much rather that not be the case. We'd much rather that not be the case. But if it needs to be, we can. It's on the menu. Are you sure you don't want the chocolate cake instead? Are you sure you can get smoked ribs or you can get smoke? Are you sure you don't want the smoked ribs? Are you certain about that? We can serve you smoked ribs, we can serve you smoke. So I suggest you get the ribs, myself, personally. No one here is going to mess with your kids. They're not going to mess with your women. They're not going to mess with any of this stuff here. They're not going to be doing any of that. However, the idea that it's open season on us because they're mistaking our kindness for weakness, just understand kindness has a limit. For these other folks out here, you have been cultivating and fertilizing and enabling a culture here, and it should be to no one's surprise that they are now treating each other the way they've been trying to treat us. You thought it was going to be limited to us? We already told you this about the MAGA morons. You thought that this destructive, acidic behavior was going to be limited to us? You thought you were going to practice this against us and that you weren't going to start practicing this internally? What kind of fool are you? Of course you're going to have to practice this internally. Of course it will be. And now here you are. Every man for himself, placing your personal interests as an individual ahead of the group with no regard or concern for the group. And now you've taken it to the sadistic level, where you're openly mocking your own group. But then again, have you considered that that's the little white supremacist in you talking? Damn! Have you considered that your little passport challenge is finally, that little internal white supremacist is finally coming out and speaking openly now? You know what you've been trying to angle for all this time. Now you're just finally coming out and expressing it. You've gotten to a point where you no longer see the need to hide it. It's been there the whole time. You've been usually focusing it against the foundationals. But now the little white supremacist is talking to all of you, talking to each other. And it's nothing constructive because it cannot be. No, you're practicing the sermon of destruction. Only now you're taking notice of this. Like, what? Damn. Take a look at how many of us Haitians are off code. That's the part that's shocking people now. How many Haitians are off code? And we've been saying we've been watching that and peeping that the whole damn time. We've been spying that the whole time. Now it's just gone public. That's all. Now it's just gone public. That little grimy stuff you were practicing against us, now it's just public now. And oh yeah, one more thing. You think it's gonna stop here?
Alrighty then.
You think this is the end of it? You think it's gonna stop here? You think this is going to be the end of that and that you won't see more of it? Wait till you get the Haitian Zaddy Challenge. Wait till you get that. And oh yeah, one more thing. Did anybody ever figure out who it was exactly who quote unquote started this? Seems rather convenient, doesn't it? For this to be happening right now. Isn't this rather convenient that at this moment in history, somebody, the algorithm on TikTok, and oh yeah, by the way, who owns TikTok now?
Damn!
Oh, one more thing. Who owns TikTok now? I couldn't help but notice this thing got kicked off on TikTok, which means TikTok's algorithm has picked it up and run with it. Who is it who owns TikTok now? No, not China. Different nation there. No, not China. It ain't China. You're behind, ma'am. You're behind. No, it ain't China. Yeah, didn't Ellison? Yeah, didn't Larry Ellison, biggest supporter of the Israeli Defense Force, the biggest donor contributor to the Israeli Defense Force, specifically bought TikTok in order to quiet criticism of Israel on TikTok? Well, Jason, what's that got to do with anything? Nothing. Nothing at all. However, I do have one question. If this Haitian passport challenge was able to be popularized on TikTok so easily, I wonder, could you also popularize, I don't know, an Israeli passport challenge? What? Hey, y'all, do you think that the TikTok algorithm would pick up an Israeli passport challenge the way that it picked up that allegedly picked up and propagated the Haitian passport challenge? Do you all think that you could get that going on TikTok the same way? Do you think TikTok's algorithm would promote that the same way? Because I'm asking the question that nobody else is asking. By the way, was this actually organic? Jason, what do you mean? Folks, we are in the era of AI. We are in the era of AI. You can make realistic looking videos of anything. So I wonder, who were the first people, quote, people, posting these videos of this Haitian passport challenge? Were those real human beings or were they something else? You know, just to get the pump prime, just to get it started. And then once it gets going, then everybody else starts mimicking it. I wonder, just thinking out loud here, but I wonder if I was diabolical and devious and wanted to do something like this. Well, the first thing I'd be thinking is, okay, let's go ahead and throw some, we just need to put up a few AIs doing it, talking like Haitians with the accent and stuff. Put up a couple of AI videos and then feed that through the algorithm. It gets a bunch of likes and then other folk get to start doing it too. And next thing you know, it's wildfire. And if you think that I'm wrong, then by the way, do you think that you could do the same thing? Do you think that you could have an Israeli or Jewish passport challenge and that TikTok's algorithm would feed it and promote it and boost it the way they did this? Do you think that you could do the same thing even if you tried? I'm curious. So I couldn't help but notice where it came from, and I couldn't help but notice who owns it. And boy, if only there were a way to do an investigation of it. I wonder what we'd find. Wonder what we'd find. Got a lot of work over there to do, y'all. They have a lot of work over there to do, so yeah, they might want to just go ahead and get started on it. But you can't say that we didn't warn you. You can't say we didn't tell you, and you can't say that we didn't warn you. There's an old saying among black folk here in America: when you dig a ditch for somebody, make sure you dig two. When you start targeting somebody else for mistreatment, when you dig a ditch for them, make sure you dig two. Don't just dig one, make sure you dig two of them. At least it'll give you a place to land. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. Let me thank everyone who's contributed to support tonight's program here. To my man Vincent, thank you very much for your support here tonight. We appreciate that. To Immigrant B1, giving out memberships here, the gift that keeps on giving. To Rita, Beverly, Tom Slick, FBA Lineage here, Fuquan, One Thought, One Though, Terrell Black, and everybody else here, FBA Queen. Thank you very much for your support here as well. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend, holidays, some days in between. So click that subscribe button, notification button. Join us each and every time that we're here. If you haven't been to blackchannelfilms.com, check out our groundbreaking best-selling documentary work at blackchannelfilms.com. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's program live or recorded. Thank you all for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and sisters from around the world, remember, black is the future and the future is being on code.